Hi friends. Okay, vanilla buttercream frosting. Okay, first off I'm going to give you the recipe so that you have the recipe down. So you're going to want 1 cup of room temperature unsalted butter, and I use the real butter, and that is at room temperature, and unsalted. If you have salted, by all means use it, and if you have the not real butter, by all means use it, yeah. And then you're going to want to have 4 to 5 cups of confectioner sugar. That is powdered sugar. You're going to want to have 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream, or you can use half and half or whole milk. And if you have whatever kind of milk, if you want to try it. You don't know till you try it if it'll work. But you want to have that at room temperature. So mine is here and it is at room temperature. You're going to want to have 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla flavoring. If you have the vanilla paste, you could use that. I had to buy some vanilla flavoring. Mine is not ready yet. I want to let it infuse longer. And then you're going to use about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, or pinch, however you're just going to use a little bit of salt. I'm using the paddle, and you're probably going to want to use some sort of mixer, whether it be a hand mixer or a stand mixer, because it'd be hard to mix if you don't. Now I'm not saying you can't do it, because you can. It's just going to be a workout, yeah. And it may not come out as creamy doing it by hand. Okay, we're going to put our butter in there first, because we want to cream our butter. We want to get it to a nice creamy state. And as you can see, my butter is at room temperature. It is a little bit wet. Not wet, just soft, very soft. Okay, so we want to cream that. Let it do its thing there. Because now we're going to get ready our powdered sugar. Now we're going to put 4 1/2 cups of powdered sugar in here as soon as this gets creamed good. And now we're going to start putting our powdered sugar, 4 1/2 cups of it. So I've got 1 cup here. Let that start mixing that. Okay, so that's 1. Our next one, 2. Look how pretty it's looking. 3. I don't like to add it all at once. Just let it do its thing there. crank it up too high, it'll start flying out on us. Now you see it's getting a little bit hard to mix there. Okay. Now we're going to put in our half. Now this is where you get ready to add in your heavy cream. Get all of that cream in there. Now I want to put in my vanilla, which is 2 teaspoons. I'm going to crank that up for just a minute there before we put the vanilla in there. Vanilla. One. Two. Now I'm going to increase that again. Cut it back down for a second because I want to actually scrape the sides really good. Scrape that beater off where that vanilla got on there. Anywhere you see like powdered sugar that's out and exposed, or vanilla that didn't get mixed in, you're going to want to push that down where it goes into the rest of the icing. And in the bottom, these bowls tend to have a spot like around the edge there, around the center sort of. And they don't want to, it doesn't want to mix there for some reason. I'm going to increase this speed and I'm going to let this do its thing. Don't have that on high, I've got it on probably medium high right here. this is where you start judging it. You know, does that look pipeable to you? Or are you smearing it with a cake spreader or a butter knife? Or are you going to be using a piping bag? So for me, this looks a little bit too wet. So this is where you come in to control however you're wanting to do it. So for me, I'm going to add a little bit more powdered sugar to this and go from there. Because if you remember, it was 4 and a half to 5, or 4 to 5 cups. So I'm going to actually add, well, let me get I'm just going to go ahead and get that half cup ready, and then I'll go from there. I'll just add some, may not have to use it all. You know, it's all according, and if you're using a butter knife to put it on, you're fine. But I'm going to be piping it, so I'll put a little, tried to all fall out. And then give that a mixy mix there. And see if that brings it to the consistency that I'm looking for. You see, this is where you can kind of judge, you know, if it's too wet, you put some sugar. If it's too dry, you can add another splash of heavy cream or milk or whatever you're using, even water, you know, there at the end if that's what you have on hand. If you used all of your milk or heavy cream to just make it and then you got it too dry at the end, then yes, I have used water before. Okay, now let's give this a check. Well, first I need to scrape down my sides. Scrape them down a little bit there. Make sure there's no powdered sugars got, you know, collected up there. Okay. I am going to go ahead and add the rest of that sugar. I'm going low right now, just to let that get moved around in there. And now I'm going to increase my speed. Everything moved about. Okay. I think that's more where I'm going to want it. So now I am going to take this out of here. I won't keep you for that, but yeah, I'm gonna get this out, get it into some container so I can use it, and then I'll bring you back whenever I get ready to go further with it. I almost forgot my salt, and you do not want to forget your salt. I'm using sea salt. Yeah, you don't want to forget that salt because of all that sugar that you use in there. It could be very sweet. That salt just helps with that. Okay. And you could just do a pinch, but I got that 8 measuring spoon, so I might as well use it since I have it. Give that a mixy. So it's a good thing I didn't take it out before I put my salt in. Of course, I could have mixed it in by hand, but I don't really want to. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look at that to see if that is the consistency I'm kind of looking for here. I think so. I haven't not piped in a long time, so I guess we'll find out, right? So now I'm going to take this out of here and put it in something else. Okay, here's what I like to do. I take my piping bag, put my end in it. See, I've cut it. I like to twist this. And then I like to take it and stick my hand down in there and put it down in there where it's kind of sideways, so it's not going to shoot out everywhere. And then I like to do it like this, right here. And then you're just filling up your bag, like so. Like that right there. Fill it up. And, yeah. Now we're filling our bag up. As you can see, get our bag nice and full. And I'll leave a little bit in there because I've got something else I want to do. Okay, so that's how I like to do that now, to put it in there, like so. Okay, we got us some cupcakes here, vanilla cupcakes that I made that are cooled. And then you want to take that out like so. And you see it's got room there, so I'm just going to kind of press this down. Now, I'm not a professional, so yeah, I just do my own thing. I've learned my own way of doing this. So yeah, I'm not a professional. I like to pipe. I even like to pipe my cold processed soap. Okay. And let's see, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and then I just like to just start and just kind of go with it. See? That's one way I like to just kind of just let it go. And you see this buttercream is working pretty good. Consistency was a little bit off, but good enough. And then whenever, after you push out your icing and it gets loose in your hand, you just simply do a little twist. I have another really good buttercream, vanilla buttercream recipe that is one of my go-tos too. Maybe someday I'll do it on for y'all. Okay. And you could use food coloring. I chose not to. Like so. You could put those sprinkles on there if you want to. Personally, I don't care anything about them myself. Okay, see, we're getting low, so we're going to end up having to put some more icing in there. These cupcakes are delicious, absolutely delicious. And the thing about buttercream is you can kind of control it, because you can add less sugar, make them not as sweet. You can make it creamier, you can make it stiffer, however you're wanting to, you know, pipe it or just spread it, whatever. But you know what the best things are? One thing, you done it yourself. You made it from scratch. Cake, the frosting, the cookie cake, whatever, you done it yourself. Number two, the best thing is you know what's in it because you put every ingredient in there. You know, you're not buying a box that's got a lot of words that you cannot pronounce, or you don't know what on earth they are, or they may say bioengineered ingredient. What is that? You know, so you know what's in it. That's a big plus there. And these cake mixes, you know, oftentimes you can make them, pre-make them, put them in a jar, seal them up tight, you know, put them in a nice dark place in your cabinet, and they'll last for a good amount of time. Okay, our chocolate buttercream, I got powdered sugar on me. Chocolate buttercream frosting. I want to give you the recipe first thing. So you're going to want 1 cup of unsalted room temperature butter. I'm using real butter. You can use whatever you want to, but you do want it to be at room temperature and softened. And then you're going to need 3.5 cups of confectioner sugar, which is powdered sugar. So yeah. And then you're going to need 1/2 cup of unsweetened natural or like Dutch, you know, Dutch processed cocoa. I've got this one, so yeah. You're going to want 1/2 cup of that. You're going to want 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, or you could try milk, but I like to use the heavy whipping cream, and I have my 3 tablespoons right here. But yeah, you can use milk, but you want that to be at room temperature. I would probably, well, no, you could probably use any milk. I would say any milk, but you could surely try it, you know. 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I am using sea salt. And then you want 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla. My vanilla is not ready, so I had to pick me up some. So yeah, let's start from there. We're going to put our, let me put you down here so you can see. Okay, we're going to put our butter in first. We want to cream it. Cream that butter. Okay, and you can see it's lovely and softened and at room temperature. If it's too hard and it's not at room temperature, it's not going to work very well. And if it's too melty, it's definitely not going to work very well. Okay, we want to cream that. Let's get that creamed up there. And I'm going to be getting my powdered sugar ready. Because we need 3.5 cups of powdered sugar. That's nice and creamy. Looks really good. Okay, now I want to add my powdered sugar. I've got 1 cup. I'm going to give it just a little mixy mix. Just a little bit there. Two. Three. Okay. Get my half. Okay. Okay, there's our 3½ cups of powdered sugar. Okay, now let that just for a second there. And get my chocolate, my cocoa, not chocolate, but cocoa ready. Okay, now we are going to put our cocoa. Oh, it looks good. Got our cocoa in there. I'm going to go ahead and add in my 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. Get that in there nicely. Now you may need more, but you know, you can evaluate that as you go if you need more of whatever, cream or such. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1, 2. Okay, and I am going to go ahead and put in my salt also, and that was an 1/8 of a teaspoon or a pinch. You could very well do a pinch, but I got this 1/8 of a teaspoon measure, so I'm going to use it. Usually I only had a 1/4, but I've got an 1/8 now, so I figure I might as well use it while I got it. Okay, let's put that down in there. Let's let it do its mixy thing. Okay, we got that low. We're going to do it on low at first. Now we're going to increase it. Now I want to kind of scrape down anywhere, like on here, how you've got this not blending in. And then you got that spot in the bottom of your, if you're using a KitchenAid, you need to remember, they're around the center of the, right there. It will usually not pick it up, not get it. Okay, let me get my trusty, this guy, to get that scraped, because we want to get all of that in there nicely incorporated, so we don't have a bunch of white sugar showing up. Okay. Pretty good. Look at that. Now, it's according, you know, if you're going to be piping it or if you're going to be just, you know, taking a butter knife and putting it on. But if it's ever too liquidy, this looks pretty good for me. If it's too liquidy, then you just merely add more powdered sugar, or you can add cocoa in this case because you're using the cocoa. If it is too dry, then you just simply add another splash of your milk or heavy cream or whatever you're using. Even if you're out of that, you could use a little bit of water if you had to at the ending, you know. But yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna get this scraped down, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, after you have chose your end, if you're going to pipe it, you simply cut your bag to where it fits down in it like that. And then what I like to do is get me a tall cup of sorts. What works really well is like the cups that you get from fast food stores, the plastic ones. Yeah, because I have been, yeah, I've piped my cold processed soap. I love to pipe. I've piped cookies, I've piped cakes. I'm not a professional though, and don't claim to be one. So yeah. Okay, I'll put that down in there like so. So you twist it good so it doesn't come out, and I kind of try to push it like that. Put that down in there. Open your bag up like this. Take your fingers and just simply do that right there. You see I've got it. Now I'm going to take some of my chocolate buttercream, and you simply just putting it in there like so. Whoop. Didn't mean to lose my spatula there. It happens, I guess. But yeah, I've done it again. Look at that. Yeah, spatula may not be quite the best to use. Let me see, let me get something else. Okay, then after you get it filled up, because I went ahead and done, you'll pull it out of your container. Put your container to the side and untwist it. Let me see how we've got it here. And I like to take and just push it down. You can lay it down like so and just go. You can also get one of your like bench scrapers, like the plastic ones, and just start pushing that icing, that frosting, right down to the bottom, like so. But I'm just using my hand. You can also use a butter knife as well to do that. I've done that in the past, like so. I don't have my bench scraper over here. It is in my bread making stuff. Okay, you get that down there where you want it. Now when you get ready to pipe, you're going to want to, or what I do now, I'm not a professional, so this is just my experience. I like to twist this like so, and give it a good twisty twist here like that, so I can hold it at whatever angle I want to so that this comes out right. So yeah. Okay, I got some homemade chocolate cupcakes that are cool. So yeah, and I've got my bag ready, as you can see. Okay, let's go with this. I'm gonna see how I want to do them. I think I just want to go simple. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. You know what I'm saying? And I've got several different tips. I've got a lot of tips. I tend to love the larger tips. I've got tips upstairs as well that are dedicated to my Bath and Body products, soap making and such. Yeah. And then I have my baking tips. I'll have to get some more icing out. Oh, I don't like the look of that one. Oh well, we'll just leave it as is. Yeah, but you can see, just giving you a gist of how it looks. You can take a butter knife and just simply smear, like say, you know, just smearing it on there, like so. It's all according to what you want to do. Yep. And then we have that one. Okay. So there is, yeah, those chocolate cupcakes look gorgeous, don't they? I think they look really well. I do. So yeah. If you like the content I create, how about a follow? I would appreciate that. But we'll come back and, yeah. Okay, I'm doing these just a little bit differently. And you see I'm just holding it down instead of going and doing the big round part, because I don't want to run out of frosting. I don't want to have to make more. We'll put it that way. So if you do it this way, it still looks nicely because it's spreading across the top of your cupcake, as you can see, but you're not going around, so you're not using as much frosting. Do you see what I'm saying? Hopefully so. These cupcakes are delicious. Absolutely delicious. And the thing about buttercream is you can kind of control it, because you can add less sugar, make them not as sweet. You can make it creamier, you can make it stiffer, however you're wanting to, you know, pop it or just spread it, whatever. But you know what the best things are? One thing, you done it yourself. You made it from scratch. Cake, the frosting, the cookie cake, whatever, you done it yourself. Number two, the best thing is you know what's in it, because you put every ingredient in there. You know, you're not buying a box that's got a lot of words that you cannot pronounce, or you don't know what on earth they are, or they may say bioengineered ingredient. What is that? You know, so you know what's in it. That's a big plus there. And these cake mixes, you know, oftentimes you can make them, pre-make them, put them in a jar, seal them up tight, you know, put them in a nice dark place in your cabinet, and they'll last for a good amount of time. Okay, let's pop a few more. Trying to make this icing go. And see, that's another thing. You can control how much icing you put on yours. If you don't want a lot of sugar, don't put a lot of icing. See how I've kind of skimmed that one, but then you just go right back and just put a little more. See there? perfect and not too much icing. These are less. So yeah, sometimes less is more. It's just according to you and what you like, you know. Now as for me, my son, you know, my mom, we're dieting right now, so we will limit ourselves, you know. And but I wanted to bring you along, let you see, you know, and give you these recipes on how I was going to do this. So if you like the content I create, how about a follow? I truly appreciate that. And yeah, I think these are awesome. I've still got my tag thing on there. I gotta take that off. And yeah, tasty. They're very tasty.